If you are an artist or creator or creative business owner or big-hearted service provider, I'm all of these things. You may be all of these things also. I want to offer you something this morning that may put a little pep back in your step if you've been feeling pretty run down and spirally and exhausted and saddened and despairing about the state of the world. I think people like you and me have been mentally preparing for this for a long time. I actually think we are far more resourced to handle this mentally and potentially emotionally, hopefully emotionally, than many people. And here's why. You and I have a lot of practice believing that something is possible that does not yet exist in the world, and facing the very real feeling fears inside of us that say, that can't happen, that's a terrible idea, that's never going to work, what are you doing, it's all hopeless, on and on and on, right? The voice of the inner critic is super loud. And we know this. We know this. There are so many books written about it. It's resistance. It's just the voice of resistance. And listen, I'm not saying we can't find a truckload of real life evidence to support our counter argument, right? The counter argument that says, well, whatever you believe in is not going to happen. Well, of course, it's easy to find evidence for that. It's so easy. And right now we're experiencing that in at least if you're here with me in the US, we're experiencing it on a national level. I think there's a push against the far right on a global level, right? So we all are experiencing it to some degree. And what I just want to offer you is, what if the tools that you use to move past your own fear and criticism about it's never going to work. I'm never going to be able to make this thing. No one's ever going to want it. Nobody's ever going to buy the thing. It's never going to matter. It's not going to reach anyone. All that shit that you have to move through to be a successful person that gets something out into the world that matters. What if all of those same tools are the tools you can call on right now? And the thing that I think can feel hard to access, that I would encourage you to access, that I'm encouraging myself to access right now, is the space and the groundedness to imagine the better vision that comes next. What comes after this? We are in the low point. We are in the dark. What happens after the dark? And we can approach the world like, listen, obviously, we know what's coming and it's good news. So we're not going to bypass the reality of what's here today because it is scary and frightening and blah, blah, blah. But we know that what's coming is good. And if you're not on that train yet, good luck to you. The rest of us, we're going to keep making it and building it and creating it and painting it and living it and talking about it because that's what comes next. And it is our job as visionaries and people who know how it feels to be in that wrestling match with fear, existential fear that what you hope for can never be. We know how that feels. We've fought this fight before. And this is the fight that just happens in our own heads, right? I mean, there are fights that have to happen out in the streets. There are fights that have to happen in the courts. There are fights that have to happen in the government. Like, we have allies everywhere. And certainly what our role is to play in those fights is also real. Like, I love the website 5calls.org. I talk about it all the time. Like, just go there, call your representatives, talk about the things that matter. They have to tally your call. It counts. I know it feels like it doesn't count, but it counts. It's something you can do every single day. Regardless, though, when you're feeling really down and out, remember, you know how to fight back against the bully of resistance. You know how to fight this fear. So let's hold that better vision and let's go make it real.